In the next hour, Narendra Modi will be sworn in for a second term as India's Prime Minister. Some 8,000 people have been invited to witness the occasion in New Delhi.
Mr Modi won the general elections by a landslide. His Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP, now controls India's lower house with 303 out of 545 seats. So that gives Mr Modi an edge to push reforms.
Labour will be a huge concern in his second term in office. India's unemployment rate is 6.1%, its highest in nearly 5 decades. For a country that's about 1.3 billion strong, that's tens of millions of people without a job.
Well, Asia's third largest economy is also faltering. It grew 6.6% in the 3 months to December, and that's the slowest pace in 5 quarters. Private consumption and investments have also slowed down.
Having campaigned vigorously on national security, Mr Modi's relations with Pakistan will also be closely watched, especially after recent air skirmishes over disputed Kashmir.
While the leaders of Sri Lanka and Bangladesh will be attending tonight's swearing-in ceremony, Pakistan's leader Imran Khan was not invited. Now, for more, let us cross over to Neha Punya in New Delhi right now. So, Neha, you know Mr Modi is going to be beginning his new cabinet without one of his key members.
I'm coming to you from the heart of New Delhi, Glenda and Stephen. Just very close to this location is where that grand swearing-in ceremony is going to take place. Like you said, there are 8,000 guests that have been called to witness that momentous occasion, because it's the first time in 30 years that we're seeing a government win a back-to-back majority mandate. And after Prime Minister Modi takes the oath, his ministers, his cabinet ministers will also be called upon the stage to swear in as well. And all eyes are going to be on who gets picked. We're already learning that Amit Shah, the BJP president who crafted that massive win for the BJP, for Prime Minister Modi, will be a part of the cabinet. It's being speculated that he could be given either the Home Ministry portfolio, which deals with internal security and external security, or the Finance Ministry portfolio, which brings us to the man who will be missing from this grand ceremony. That's Arun Jaitley, a very key aide of Prime Minister Modi, someone who's given 3 portfolios back in 2014, including Finance, Defence and the Corporate Affairs Ministry. This time around, he's not going to be a part of Mr Modi's team. Earlier this week, he wrote to Prime Minister Modi requesting that he be excused because he has not been keeping well. He said he's going to continue working for Mr Modi's government though. And the other big inclusion that everyone is speaking of is Smriti Irani, the former textile minister in the previous Modi regime. She is the person who defeated Congress President Rahul Gandhi in his constituency of Amethi, and the word on the ground is that she's likely to be rewarded for that. She's also being called the giant slayer. So a lot of speculation doing the rounds, but of course in 1.5 hours we will find out.
Anyhow, we know that thousands of guests have been invited for the ceremonial part of it, but no invitation to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. What message is Mr Modi trying to send out at the start of his second term?
As far as Mr Modi is concerned, Pakistan has dominated the discourse through the 2-month-long election campaign that we've seen here in India. And now again, as far as this grand inauguration ceremony is concerned, a lot of experts are crediting Mr Modi's massive win to the fact that he consistently and very effectively raised the issue of national security, reminding voters time and again of the threat that Pakistan allegedly poses. He was, of course, referring to that terror attack that took place in Indian-administered Kashmir in February, in which 40 Indian security personnel were killed, following which India conducted airstrikes across the border. Since then, tensions between the two nuclear-armed neighbors have been very, very high. And sources in the Foreign Ministry telling me that there's no chance that Pakistan would have been invited, keeping in mind the current atmosphere that exists between the two neighbors. But we are being told that the two leaders, that's Mr Modi and Imran Khan, will likely meet. This is next month. This meeting could take place at the sidelines of the SCO summit in Bishkek. No bilateral engagement is planned so far. The two leaders have been in touch briefly after Mr Modi won, but there's been no talk of a resumption of dialogue. But the message here is clear that India wants Pakistan to meet at halfway, wants it to discuss terror, wants it to put an end to cross-border aggravations, as it calls it. But we don't quite know whether this talk that has started already of Mr Modi saying that he's happy to work with Imran Khan to restore peace in the region, will that actually translate into bilateral engagement between the two sides?
All right, many thanks for that. Neha Punya speaking to us from New Delhi.